Alright. What's up, everybody? My name is Dreamer, and welcome to another video. In this video, I wanted to show you how I made my submission for the King of Beats 2020 contest by Cymatics, which is essentially this melody collection that they made, and they made a contest. So you should make a beat out of these melodies. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So the melody loop I started with was this dark melody loop number 2. So yeah, it's a dark melody loop, very melodic, very kind of mysterious. I really liked it. So the first thing I did was that I put it into a slicer, this right here, and then I chopped it up with medium auto slicing to get it like for each beat. Why can I not play? So yeah, then I chopped it up very easy. I just made it like this. It's basically the first part of the sample with this top melody right here. That's the way I chopped up the sample. I put some effects on it, as you can see. I had a fruity vinyl on it to make it sound like a little older, have it a little bit more detuned. Then I have an OTT on it, some delay, reverb, an EQ, a love filter which comes in later, and a gross beat for half step. I have this love filter envelope, which is for this one right here, which is basically just a volume automation. So with this volume automation, it sounds like this. Just adding a bit of variation and bounce to it. Then I created this background ambience from the same sample. So what this essentially is it's the sample, then it's reversed, and then I've chopped it up every 4 bars so that it and then removed the order so that it plays like the same part as this. And then I made it very ambient by firstly adding a vinyl, putting the year function down to 1930 to make it sound really old, putting on a delay with a lot of feedback and input, a reverb where the dry is decreased to 35% to make it sound very wet and reverby in the background, an EQ just lowering some annoying frequencies, a love filter, again that volume automation, and then finally just a compressor to increase the gain. Then I have this other thing. The cool thing about this pack is that you get the stems along with it, so I took the stems and I took this bell. And then I used like just this part right here. And you may think that it sounds kind of weird, but if I remove all these frequencies and add it with this, you hear that it got this delayed effect, kind of like a bell chiming. You can hear that it's the delayed effect on it. And I thought that sounded pretty cool, at least with the effects on it as well. It just makes it kind of, yeah, it adds variation to the sample. Finally, we have this part right here. which is basically just the first part of the sample. Just playing over and over again. Then we move on to the drums. The drums are kind of... I really wanted to go all out with the drums. I'm gonna start with a kick. Just using a hard kick from the Viper sample pack. What I've done to make it like as punchy as possible, I've EQ'd it, removed some of the highs, an EQ. This is for the 808. I'll come back to this part later. A soft clipper with max settings run through a compressor. And that's how I made it sound so punchy. And then for the second part here, I have this velocity going down for the kick. Just adds more bounce, makes the kick kind of not on the same level and very like generic, makes it more human. And then for the snare, I just have a couple of rimshot snares, and this for like the percussion hits before the snare. Hi-hats, I have two different hi-hats that I use. The first one is this, which is basically just doing the standard pattern right here. I've played around with the velocity just to make it add some more bounce and variety. The other hi-hat I use is this. As you can see, the velocities are kind of all over the place for this one as well. But what I also messed with is, as you can see, the pitch. I have some notes all the way up here, some notes down here. Then I also have used the fine pitch here to make it go down some areas. Then up, and then here as well, going up. I've also messed around with the pan for some areas. So for this area right here, so these are panned to the right. Just to like separate the standard high pattern from like the sprinkly variations in between. These also are panned. This one. So yeah, those two are the hi-hat patterns. Together they sound like this. Next up we have percussions. So these are the percussions I have. I have this percussion right here, which is reversed percussion actually. That's how it sounds. The original sample is from the Cobra sample pack from Cymatics. I think it's yeah, it's this one. With a little bit of editing, it sounds like this. So the percussion loop is like this. Then I also have this Viper high percussion. Nothing special I've done with this. Yeah, I've just played around a little bit with the velocity and the pan. I may have, yeah, a little bit with the pitch as well for some areas. The fun thing about this part right here is that it complements the hi-hat. This hi-hat right here. It's played in the same rhythm, but the hi-hats are panning, or the pitch is going down, while the percussion pitch is going up. So this is going down, this is going up. So the drums without the 808 sounds like this. Yeah. Then it's the 808. So for the 808, I really wanted to make it stand out. I wanted to have a lot of bending, a lot of slide notes. I play a lot with 808. So I came up with this pattern right here, which essentially is the pattern that's going through the whole song. So this is how it sounds. So yeah, as you can see, it's a lot of slide notes, a lot. The 808 I chose is the long Viper 808. Yeah, that's basically it. The mixing I did with this, I have the wave shaper, just adding a little bit of distortion. This is how it sounds without. An EQ, where I remove some of the high end. And then I have the subtractive EQ right here, and what this is doing is that it's taking the frequencies where the kick hits. Yeah, I'll actually show it with the kick. So here we have the kick EQ and the 808 EQ. So these are the sub frequencies where the kick is really hitting, where it's really pushing. So I've increased those, and to give room for the kick so it doesn't clash with the 808 as much, is that I've reduced those frequencies in the 808. So this will mean that the kick is hitting a lot harder, even though the 808 is playing at the same time, which also means that I don't have to sidechain the 808 to the kick. And then I have a compressor, just compressing the 808. And finally I have a delay. And you may think, why would you add delay to the sub or the 808? But I have it in a few. I think I have it in 2 areas. So I have it here at the breakdown, where it goes into this area right here, and to this area right here. Just as a transition. It sounds good, I promise. The last thing we have for these drums is this percussion loop right here. So that's the drums. This is the drums all together. So the intro sounds like this. Also, I put the growth speed halftime on max for the intro for this part right here. Then I have these breaks where the 808 is the sole focus. And here. Then I have this breakdown. Oh, I forgot about this pad thing. So it's from the synth effects area. Is this one right here. So what I did with this, I just put it in. I have 2 versions. One which is the root note of G sharp, and then I have this one which is the 3rd note, the minor note of the G sharp. Then to make it sound soft, because this is kind of a harsh sound, I just put an EQ on it, just removing all of these top frequencies. Without it, it sounds like this. Then I added a reverb, just making it very wet. That's how it sounds without the reverb. And then the love filter, just to complement like the kind of style we got going on already, where I have a lot of volume, automation, and LFO on the audio, the samples. So this is added in the second part of the hook or the drop or whatever you want to call it. It serves just like a background noise or background ambience. Like it's not very present, but you can still hear it. If you listen closely, you'll hear it. Then this break thing, this is where the delay on the 808 comes in. As you can hear, you barely hear the 808. So this breakdown right here has a lot of the same elements as the intro. Basically the only difference from the intro is this pad right here, or this Reese bass, I guess you could call it. So what this is 2 basses. I have a GMS. It's just a preset Diablo TE. It's a really cool bass. So what I did with this, I added an EQ, just boosting some of the lows, and then I added this analog EQ to make it a lot warmer. So without these effects, it sounds like this. And with the effects, it sounds like this. So it's just a warmer feeling. Then I have a Harmor, where I made just a standard saw bass. So what I did with this, I added a lot of voices. I pitched it down 2 octaves. A classic low pass, just lowering the frequency, and then adding log distortion to make it sound like really harsh. So without the distortion, it sounds like this. You can barely hear it. So yeah, it just added a lot more presence to the bass. Then I cut off the lows because I wanted the lows from this bass. So the breakdown sounds like this. Back to the basic drop here. The only difference here is that we have an open hi-hat, which comes in certain areas. Also, I've panned, as you can see, I've panned the hi-hats in some areas, like here, and there. So yeah, that's basically the only difference from this part compared to this part. Also, I play the percussion loop the entire time. Then we come here, and in this area there's like this little break before we switch up the beat completely in this area, or in this part. So I'm just gonna play the transitions first, and then I'll talk you through it. So this is how the drums sound. I changed the hi-hat pattern so it goes like this. I haven't played anything with the pan, just a little bit with the velocity and the pitch. I only used one hi-hat as well. I still use this percussion loop right here. I switch up the kick and the 808. So now I'm using like a more distorted and booming kind of 808, more hard hitting. of the effects I have on this is a paramedic EQ, also reducing some of the frequencies where the kick is hitting, a parametric EQ. Then I have a blood overdrive, just adding a little bit of distortion, and then a compressor. The kick is also different, more distorted, and then the snare is the same. I've changed the pattern a little bit with the percussion rim. Yeah, so the reason why this was probably the hardest part of the beat to make was because I could not find a melody from the melody loop that fitted. Like, it took forever. So as you can see, I have all these audio files right here which are muted, all of them, and these are like the old melodies and samples that I tried to use. So finally I found this dark melody loop. It's the first one. This one sounds amazing. It sounded so good that I didn't want to manipulate the sample a lot. So I added some effects to it, not a lot. I added an OTT just to create more of a sample feeling to it. Like, without it, it sounds like this. Like, it brings the quality down a little bit, and I really like that vibe. An EQ, just removing some of the lows and some top frequencies that are just unnecessary. A delay, a compressor, and an EQ. This EQ is just for the build-up. The short build-up right here. So yeah, that's my beat for the King of Beats 2020 contest. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more of this stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna give you a little preview of the beat. The full version is available to listen on SoundCloud, so I'd really appreciate it if you went over there and also vote for me. There's a link in the description at the SoundCloud and also on this video. But yeah, I'll shut up and let you listen to the beat.